Well, hello there. I'm Kim Berry, editor of Food and Drink Business. Welcome to the fifth and final episode in our sustainability series, Taking the First Step. We've been working with Branson from Calyx, a leader in data-based sustainability insights for the food supply chain system, and the CEO and founder of Kurrajong Kitchen, Karen Lebsanft, to map the carbon, water and biodiversity footprint of one of Kurrajong Kitchen's new products called Oakley's. Now, we've come to this point where the mapping has been done, and today we are joined by Grant Davidson from Davidson Branding Agency to look at how a company can use the data and information they find out about their credentials to support their brand in the marketplace. Now, sadly, I was not there for this recording as I'm knee-deep compiling our annual Top 100 Food and Drink Companies in Australia report. But pull up a chair and have a listen. It's been a fantastic series, and we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have in pulling it together.
So welcome to Sustainability 101. This is the fourth in our series of unpacking what does getting started on sustainability look like for SMEs. We've got Karen from Kurrajong Kitchen, and we're looking at her Oakley's cracker range, and we've got Grant from Davidson Branding. So today, if you guys have been following the series, Karen's laid everything bare for Oakley's. We've measured the sustainability. We've communicated that back to her, and obviously always using data as a lens. And then once Karen had a chance to review the results, the next step for her was like, how do I get this in front of my consumers to try and understand what the value proposition is? So I'll hand over to Karen in a minute, but the key things so we brought Grant in to really, as a branding and marketing expert to help us understand and solve some of these questions for Karen. The key things, I guess, that sort of came out of last week's presentation, which were what do these results mean to Karen and her team, was how could we weave this messaging into our brand strategy? How we could look at adding an impact lens to any of the call-outs on pack, and what were the other important touch points that we needed to address or think about when communicating, making this meaningful for our consumers. So on that note, Karen, I'll hand over to you, and you can ask Grant how to solve your problems.
Thank you, Lauren. Hello, Grant. Hello, Lauren. Hello, Kim. It has been a very exciting journey getting to here and understanding where we sit as Oakley's as the brand, and then now what it means going forward and what opportunities that are presented to us. And I always come from my lens of an SME. I don't have a massive budget in which to go and drive this, but I really understand the importance of it for the legacy of the brand. And I really understand that the consumer wants to know, and the value to both the brand and the consumer in sharing that information and talking a consumer through when they don't necessarily know, or as an SME, what sustainability looks like, as we've learnt a lot over these last few podcasts, these few meetings. So where to from here? Oakley's has come out with an A- rating, yay, which was fantastic.
Well done.
Thanks, Grant. And then now I've got a packet, I've got socials, I've got communication through email, I've got speaking to buyers, where, what, how, what should I do to connect this to my brand going forward? So Grant, I'm all ears.
Fantastic. Well, again, first, congratulations on a fantastic score. I mean, looking at the data, outperforming the category is a great achievement, and given that there's some really big, sophisticated competitors in the space is fantastic, and therefore it is a brilliant marketing asset to have. So you've got a point of difference to leverage, you have a message to tell, and what we know from all the research is consumers are looking for, want and want to buy and choose brands that have ethical and sustainable credentials, and so it is a preference of purchasing. The other thing that's really important, often your first battle is with the retailers, and retailers know that consumers are looking for brands that are more sustainable and ethical and are good for good corporate social organizations. And that can be the difference between more facings, that can be the difference between not being ranged and not deleted and the competitor being deleted. So it's actually, in terms of your first challenge, it's a really powerful story to tell. So that's almost like your first marketing challenge is make it part of the value proposition, make it part of the proof points, and also show how, as a very proud, sustainable brand, that you're going to be communicating that to the marketplace, and that will drive traffic to the category, that'll drive sales to your products, and therefore that's success for you and that's success for the retailers, and good for consumers, are good for the planet. So the more successful the marketing is, the more successful the sales are, the better for everybody.
That's really good to know. So what if, as a small or medium-sized brand, what first? Where do I go? What do I do? And I particularly have talked about call out on packaging when I look at the packaging, and how do I bring it, where do I place it on the packaging? Is it front of pack? Is it side? Is it inside? Is it, where should it sit? Because obviously, and Grant, Davidson Branding has worked to develop this packaging for me, and that was a really brilliant journey for us. And then now there's another level. So where do I put it? What do I do?
Definitely. Well, I think the starting point is developing the story, the narrative, because it's more than just a sweeping proposition that we're more sustainable than the competition, for want of a better term. Because whilst we know consumers are really looking for, wanting and valuing companies and brands that are more sustainable, there's also a little bit of skepticism and cynicism. There's the whole greenwashing. So what's really important is not just the proposition, how you articulate that sustainable credential, but then it's the proof points and the support and the story behind it, and also, I guess, the actions behind it. So the very first step is, what is the kind of messaging matrix, if you like? So how we express that succinct statement, what are the proof points and pillars that support it, and then what's the visual shorthand for it? And that's where iconography, which is on pack, is a great way for consumers to see it and understand, very quickly. So I guess first part is that communication expression. Then we start to look at the channels. So I guess if you go from a trade presentations, how that story is told, that's probably step one. Look, packaging is the most used vehicle, I suppose, to tell the story, because not only is it at that moment of I'm choosing between this product, and this product, so that can be the scale tipper in terms of choosing your product over a competitor. So call out on the front of pack in some way, shape or form, because not everyone has time to pick up every pack, turn it around, download, look at a QR code, watch a video. And so on front of pack, enough to tell that story is a really important driver first. Then, and because on pack, you've got limited real estate, and the more you add information in, then the more cluttered, and then generally the more it disappears into the supermarket shelf. So it's enough on pack to get people to go, yep, that's got sustainable credentials. But then people need to be able to find out a little bit more. And the great thing about packaging is you do take it home and you turn it around and you look, and you discover what's written on the back. And, and thanks to the pandemic and because QR codes becoming ubiquitous, people do go, I want to find out more about this. And it's very easy just to grab the phone and then watch a video of you telling the story in more detail about the values and beliefs behind the importance of sustainability, and also some of the story about why and how that's believable, that's memorable, that's engaging. So that's one in terms of on-pack opportunities. There's a percentage of people that make purchasing decisions before they enter the store. And I think there's 30,000 SKUs in 30 minutes. So every consumer has to navigate 1,000 SKUs per minute. So they don't have time to spend too much. So often a lot of purchasing, the decisions are made which brand through either habits or because my mum bought that pack, it's always been in the house, are often made just instinctive. So disrupting that generally means out of store communication. Social media from a SME is often your most cost effective way, because when we're on social media, we're looking for information and entertainment and interesting stories. And so we're not going to pay much attention to 20% off, because that's not the right vehicle and the right environment for that. But if it's like some sustainable credentials and you're like, oh, hey, that's interesting. And even if you glance at it and move on, it's in your mind that Kurrajong, sustainability, and then next time you're in store, the dots will join in your subconscious mind. You'll just go, oh, I feel like that's the right pack for me to buy.
Yeah.
So yeah, socials, out of home. YouTube's a really powerful channel, so telling the story, and that can be an asset that's linked to the QR code on pack. That can be edited to short form on socials. So videos, and also because we're so time poor, reading takes too long, but we're more inclined to just watch a very short video, and it's memorable. It's easy to digest that information. So YouTube's a really important aspect.
Right.
I guess, Grant, just to pause there to summarize for the SMEs, and then Karen, jump in with some thoughts on some of those suggestions. So I feel like what we're hearing is that there are different points of communication. One is to get something through to your distributor. So that's potentially really easy, like just an additional one page in your range review, but make sure you refer to that, I guess, up front and center as you're going through that. It's like, this is Oakley's, this is why it's important, and sustainability is really important to us, and we're delivering on that. I feel like the other point is, which is where I feel like SMEs can often get stuck, is really like Grant made a beautiful point about weaving this into your journey. Like sustainability is really the beginning. Like this is the beginning of a very long journey that's going to be continuous improvement and iteration and change. So I feel like not getting stuck there, but maybe it's an internal thing, or maybe you get someone like Grant's team in for a half-a-day strategy workshop, or Calyx can sometimes support with the data on that as well. But understanding, okay, what's this going to look like for this brand, and how we bring it in, or also like, and whilst you're doing that, I think it's also about saying, okay, the first thing that's important to us is impact transparency. And Karen, you had really good results, so you can get out there already and say, hey, and be open and honest and vulnerable about it. Say, hey, we're at the really first step of our sustainability journey, and it's understanding, and we want to share what we've learned with you guys now, and stay tuned for when we've got this fully weaved into our brand story. And I think, Karen, you mentioned last week as well, maybe you can show these guys those cards in pack as well. So you could have it, as Grant said, like front of pack on the pack, your eco score A+, and then actually something on the card inside. So one, you're driving consumer behavior and change through front of pack consumer communication, and then building on that and elevating that with another touch point inside the pack as well.
I think, thanks, Lauren. I think also too, what you're saying, they're weaving it into your journey. And I've spoken about this new range, the sisters range, the granddaughters range, starting with Oakley's, is very much about the future of Kurrajong and where it's going. And it's so much about that journey. And the more I hear, I used to almost story told to myself was, this is the Kurrajong Kitchen story, and we started here, we're ended up here at 30 years, and these are the bits in between. But there are so many underlying stories, and sustainability is one of them that's speaking to the consumer now and into the future. And an understanding of that. And Grant, to your point about, the research that's done before you get to shelf, so many people, so many friends, or you're about to walk into a store and you look at something, in the window or on shelf or whatever, and you're already, Googling
Primed.
or Facebook or that's right, finding your information. So it's been, there's so much going through my head going, what we could potentially do. But understanding as well that, as the SME, what I loved about what you just said a moment ago as well is the levels of where you start, what's your messaging, and then what's your story, and then how you can go and break it down. And as you obviously know, Kurrajong did this journey through branding with yourself. And I think it was one of the most important things I've ever brought to this brand, is taking that journey with you about where, as an SME, we did it all internally ourselves, and then went, right. And then this is another level, taking the sustainability story and weaving it in. So very excited about that.
Yeah, and I've just had another idea as well. So the power of PR. So because if you look for as many awards, sustainability awards as possible, now that you've got some data and some proof, and you outperform the category. So if Woolworths, Coles do supplier awards under sustainability, enter that, because then when you win, that becomes very PRable. I mean, think of all the insurance companies that do billboards spending hundreds of thousands on CanStar, ranked #1. There's winning an award amongst your peers is a third-party endorsement that you are significantly better than everybody else, and it costs nothing because you're entering an award and then leveraging that through PR. So I think that could be a really powerful opportunity as well. And I forgot to mention before, your website.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we've already sort of gone to a stage of going, oh, we can do a little blog on our website and QR code people from that almost we could sticker potentially to start with to do a trial, QR code people to the website, see what sort of response we're getting. Coming back to your awards thing your awards point is Kurrajong Kitchen really is a multiple national and global award winner in a number of different categories. You can't see, but behind me there, that's the whole awards cabinet. And I'm really big on that because I agree what I believe about awards. And I know people go, oh, why bother, etc. But to your point, it gives you another level of credibility. And it also actually makes you better at what you do because you actually start assessing what you do through the category of entering awards. And that's what I love, what awards do for you as well, internally. And then as you've explained, externally as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like, Karen, on that point as well, delivering, often just filling in the application for the award because you park the time to do it. But that's probably the very first part of understanding how you're weaving sustainability into your story and how it's important, because you're going to have to articulate it in a way that, people can assess you against other applications. So I think it's often a great way to start. And as Grant said, it's completely free of charge. And then hopefully after that, you can, leverage PR opportunities out of it.
Absolutely.
What other channels do you use? I think Grant mentioned YouTube. Do you use that channel currently?
We have a YouTube channel. We're not very active on it. And even to this point as well, probably TikTok as well, which I'm not quite sure how. I say we dabble in TikTok and we dabble in YouTube. We're active on the mains, Insta, Facebook, and obviously website to some degree. And again, that's another level of what story are you telling here? Who are you talking to? How am I delivering that? And as you also know, I go out and share the Kurrajong Kitchen story on the speaking market as well. And this is now another level of what I can bring in, which is really exciting for me because, whether it's talking business to business or business to consumer, it is just another level of education and legacy that we can actually keep going with.
Awesome. Well, I feel like that's been a really clear sort of way forward. And I think Grant's shed a lot of light on how we can now elevate this into our brand story and communicate to our consumers and also our distributors, so those retailers, to get a lot of leverage out of it. So I think in summary, it's sort of there's the short-term goals of like, let's get out there to our consumers, front of pack, and be loud and proud about it, whilst also saying this is the beginning of our journey. And, stay tuned for what else you'll be seeing. Apply for as many awards as you can. Start communicating to your distributor. You should have enough information there to add that in your range review, or even call back the distributors who aren't ranging you at the moment and say, hey, we'd love to share this with you now as well. And then look at what that looks like from now. So 12 months time. So what does it mean, and where does the sustainability story need to be in 12 months? Maybe by then you've reworded all of the call outs on your pack and added an impact lens to them, because you've had time for your internal team to digest this as well and think about, okay, what does sustainability really mean to us, and where are we going to take it?
And I think, Lauren, in that is what I take from that is often as an SME, you go, oh, wow, it's all too much. It's all too, it's all too big. There's so much there, but it's one little bite at a time. Take one step at a time. Pick the low hanging fruit. What are we doing? And then it's not a timeline of 3 months or 6 months or etc. It's a long journey, and just get on the path for the journey.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think so. Oh, well, fantastic. Well, thank you guys. Hopefully, Karen, that's helped you find a way forward when communicating both internally and externally. And Grant, thank you for sharing your wisdom from the marketing space.
Pleasure.
Thanks,
Good to see you
Grant.
guys.
Thank you so much, Grant. Thanks, Lauren. It's been a really interesting and informative session. I really appreciate it.